Hi, this is Trevor Conquergood. Welcome to this week's R&K Software Club's video for the week. And the topic for this week is about the new Popup Color Palette. And so there's a new Popup Color Palette, and you can open it and close it from the bottom at the left-hand side of your workspace. When you click on it, the Popup Palette opens up, and if you click again, it closes. Similarly, you can open it up and use the little X on the sort of top right-hand side of it to close it. One of the things I love about the Popup Palette is I can see my colors a lot more quickly, and I can find them a little bit more easily. If you find a color that you're like, I want to use this color of blue in my design, you can simply right-click and add it to your design palette. So you can quickly go through and choose, the colors that you want to design with, and add them all to your design palette, and then close the Popup Palette, and you've kind of like selected your colors for this design. So you really have two palettes or two places to access the same information. We still have our scrolling color bar along the bottom and the new Popup Palette. One of the things that's cool about the Popup Palette is you can resize it. So if I drag it to the right like this and let go, the colors reorganize, and now I can see the entire collection of 360 shades of Floriani Poly at the same time. And once again, I could pick my shades and right-click and add them to the design palette, and then if I close it, when I open it again, guess what? It goes right back to where you left it. So you can actually click and drag and hold on the gray bar where it says Popup Palette and move it to wherever on your screen that you want to. And so if you want to, fully maximize out the space and, make it so that you can see a really large color palette, or not, too much work to scroll around for lots and lots and lots of colors, that's the way you can do it. The space also serves as a sort of organizer for our fabrics. And so up at the top, you've got palette for colors, and colors means it's going to interact with your thread charts, right? See, beside the Popup Palette button is the select thread chart button, and this is where you can change the thread chart. And you will notice that we did update the Floriani and Quilter Select and Embellish thread charts, and I think a couple of new ones were added as well. We didn't make changes to all of the thread charts, just really updated our Floriani ones. If there's any thread charts that you wish we had and we don't, then you're welcome to write in and make a suggestion, and we can try to find the information. If you happen to have the RGB color list for a thread chart and you'd like us to include it, go ahead and send it in. So just know that you can change your thread chart by clicking on the second button at the bottom and then click to change. So for example, we'll change it to the Embellish Flawless thread chart, which is I think around 130 colors, that you could sort of buy or collect or whatever, use in your embroidery designs. And so there's lots of different charts that you can, I guess, select, and Floriani Poly is kind of those everyday 360 colors. I believe there's actually two copies of it, because there is one that also says Floriani Embroidery Everyday 360, but I believe that is the same thing as our sort of Floriani polyester chart. So when I click over to fabrics, notice that the space is now showing us fabrics instead of colors. And similarly, I could select this fabric and right-click and add that to my design palette. The cool thing about fabrics is you have the ability to make your own sort of organization of it, and I believe that none of these options would be pre-installed like Trevor and Today and Moda. That's me adding fabric to my own computer. So you are able to add new collections. There's a button right here. So if I click on the word fabric and right click and say create new folder and call it, whatever, again, I know I'm just going to delete it again later anyways, but I make a new folder and I select on it and it's empty and I say add. And so now you have to browse to wherever you have your images of your fabric and select them. And so let me see if I can find some from one of our folders. Fabrics. Yeah, and so I've got lots of different ones that I've installed, different collections that I may have, for example, downloaded. And so here's something that I went to the Free Spirit website and downloaded a collection of what looks like, maybe 8 or 10, maybe more, 12 kind of like fabrics. And I can use sort of my shift key to select them all. So basically what I did was I clicked on here. Let's click on none. I clicked on one, hold down shift, click on 4. All right. So I'm going to add these 4, click open to my, software. And now those fabrics are there. Notice that there's a ruler on the bottom of it. And if I select it, I get a remove button and an edit button. So if I don't have anything selected, I can't use those buttons. But when you choose a fabric, you could say to, for example, get rid of it or edit it. And when you say to edit it, a whole window opens up. And this is the edit fabric window. And so, for example, in here, there's little blue tabs to sort of limit the, what is the part of the image that you want to keep. And so I can very easily get rid of the ruler. But before I do, I'm just going to notice that it's it looks like it's supposed to be 12 inches wide. And up here it says that the requested length is 12.5. So I guess I could back off the 0.5 and make it exactly 12. And so then basically when we say OK or apply, that's going to update the sort of size of the image to be 12 inches now. If I crop like this, it's going to be 12 and I click apply. So when you save this, I guess, it's not really the full it's limiting that. So the length will be 12 inches long, but the height, I guess when I save it, this must get updated because it will be slightly smaller, right? Because we brought it up like this and we're, kind of cropped it. So you can set the exact size of your fabric as well as you can rotate the angle of it. If you know that your fabric's off and you want to type in a specific number, you can, or see the option for define. This is either horizon or scale, so you're either doing one or the other. Notice when I go on here that my cursor kind of has like what looks like a rotating page icon because we're on define horizon. So if you felt that your fabric was, let's just say this was a picture of your fabric, but you didn't think you got it kind of straight, you could say, well, actually, in real life, I'm pretty sure that from the bottom of this leaf to the bottom of that leaf is what was supposed to be straight. And this fabric isn't a really good one to understand, but maybe it's stripes and it's very clear to you where the horizon needs to be. And so what I'm trying to show is if I click and I drag whatever line I make. So if you said, actually, when I put it on a ruler from that leaf to that leaf, that's what I want to be straight, and that's how I'm going to quilt with it or embroider with it, then you can make that second click. So it's actually not. It's click and drag, and then it's let go. So that rotated it. So let me do it again. I'll, from this blue flower down to that one, click and drag and let go. And it rotates as I let go. And so if you're going to rotate it that much, then you're probably going to need to crop it down again and get rid of all of that white space. So if you're taking pictures of your own fabric, take a larger area and then get the size right and crop this down to like 8 inches. Put a ruler right on your fabric when you take the photograph. That way you can be accurate. Anyhow, all that said, if I click save, apply maybe, save, no, just OK. Save would, I guess, allow me to make a new copy of it. OK is what I want, because OK will simply update it. See, so I didn't need another copy, but I guess I could have if I wanted to have like the original plus this new cropped one that I made. So now you can see that I've kind of updated my fabric and made my own collection, and I can go back to the colors or the fabrics. So that's the new Popup palette. It has the option to turn on and off the pick and apply. So that's kind of a separate thing. We could talk about it maybe just in a minute. I wanted to show you one more thing about the kind of Popup palette. If I close it and reopen it, if I put it somewhere else, so you can, I don't know if the right word is park it. When I click up the gray bar, if I click and hold, see all the little windows that come up? And these could technically be locations for your Popup palette that were embedded into the workspace. So what about there? Oh, so if I put it there, I have like a kind of fun little extra color palette right there in, because if you're doing kind of like me with properties besides sequence view, that was always kind of wasted space anyway. It's really not a big enough space for the fabrics. See, I can't see I can see the tree, but I think I need a bigger space for the fabrics. If you don't like it in here, go where the word Popup Palette is, click and hold and drag to bring it back out again. So just know you can put it wherever you want, and there's lots of options, I guess, and you can have some fun with that. Why don't we quickly talk about pick and apply, and then we can have a wonderful weekend. Let's go ahead and just close this for a minute and maybe create or open some artwork or something like that. So why don't I go to the artwork library and just kind of scroll through and find a little image. It really obviously doesn't matter what image it is. But just to understand, and let's just that's group, sorry, let's ungroup it so that you can, click on any one of the shapes. And notice right now, if I click on them, I simply select them. Well, pick and apply, there's two ways to turn that on. And one of them is from the Popup Palette. So if you open up your Popup Palette and you go on to the color palette, and then you click on pick and apply, notice that my cursor out here in the workspace became a paintbrush. And so why don't we try this? I'm going to park this over down here, and I have pick and apply turned on. And so I'm going to pick blue, and then I'm going to click to apply it. So I know that this is selected, but this paintbrush doesn't care what's selected. It colors whatever it's pointing at. And you can pick a new color and apply that to wherever you want that color to be. And it's very easy to scroll through your color palettes and change the colors and change the sort of look of your design. So it's a way to, I guess, try on new colors quickly and easily. And it's kind of like coloring book. It's inspired by some of the coloring book apps that you might have got, like for your phone or something like that, where you can click. So I guess if you want, you could find some really cool, highly detailed artwork and use this for coloring. Maybe we'll do that as another day. I'll find some artwork or create some for you that you could use as a coloring artwork. But so this is the new pick and apply option that you can turn. So if I turn it off, so now it's on and I have the brush, but notice, for example, if I click on my select tool, it unchecks that and I no longer have the brush. The other way to turn it on is to come, see, here's the color that's currently selected, and if I click on that, the brush turns on and I could paint with it. And then if I either click on the select tool, or another way would be right click. Right click is always end in the Floriani software. So turn on pick and apply by clicking right on that red square, color something red, and then right click to be done. So this is your new Popup palette. And I can notice when I closed it now, it simply left that space. But if I click on it again, it goes back to where I left it. So it remembers all that. And even if you close the software and reopen it, it will remember, I believe it does, where your Popup palette has been saved to. So I hope you enjoyed this week's R&K Software Club's video for the week. My name's Trevor Conquergood. Until next week, have a great day and bye for now.